unfortunate aspect that as much as I like film criticism, parody is the greatest criticism.
Well, yes, that's interesting,
art.
Of course.
All right. It's the one that wields the most scalpel edge, all right, to criticism of art is parody itself. But when it's like sushi, finely cut.
Well, when was the last time you saw The Great Dictator?
I actually have seen it recently.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a big Chaplin fan.
I know
as a
you.
director.
I know you are.
No, that's not a given. I went for years putting down Chaplin because I was so worshipped at the altar of Buster Keaton. And now I've appreciated.
Yeah.
At an older age, I've appreciated what Chaplin did.
Oh, amazing. As much of it's a parody, he does go for the laugh.
No, he is Chaplin. Of course he goes for the laugh. I mean, at the end of the day, there's probably no actor who ever performed before a camera that felt more entitled than Charlie Chaplin. I mean, ever. Marlon Brando, at his most Brando-esque, was never as entitled as Charlie Chaplin.
Why are you like saying entitled? So why?
Well, because it's just like whatever this film captures is just the glory of what I'm doing.
I see, yeah. Right. Right.
I am capturing history by me doing anything. This is all history. Just turn the camera on.
Wow. Now talk about
turn the camera on.
Yeah.
No, but it's all history because I'm Charlie Chaplin and I can do no wrong.
But that's certainly.
But you're capturing it.
But certainly his great movies.
No. I'm making fun of the megalomania, but thank God for the megalomania because he's Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin's classic, The Gold Rush. Finally, it's about time we've taken on a silent film. We decided to start off with The Gold Rush for a couple of different reasons. One, we like the idea of a silent film. And we really like the idea of starting off with Charlie Chaplin. As a big fan, as I am, of both Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd, which I kind of like better. I've kind of been giving myself over to Chaplin much more in the last 5 or 6 years. But one of the things about The Gold Rush that made it exciting, one is the New Beverly was having a screening of it, so we got to see it in gorgeous 35 millimeter. But also, of his big features where he plays the little tramp, Gold Rush was the one that I actually hadn't seen. And the reason I didn't see that, as opposed to, like, say, Modern Times or City Lights or The Kid, is because that was one that we didn't have a commercial version of at Archives. We had one of the Crazy Lance versions of. He's just making himself, and like I was looking for it, I can't find it. I think he took that with him, all right? But it was actually always kind of cute to see his little homemade box there in the Charlie Chaplin section. But consequently, though, I was so excited that they were showing it at the New Beverly, and then that was one of the features I hadn't seen. In fact, we all saw it together, and I think you remember when we were talking, I go, maybe halfway into this, I'm going to remember I've seen it before, but that didn't happen. We have it on video cassette here. I'm a big fan of Chaplin's features. My favorite is The Kid, because of the climax. It's so heart-wrenching. But I also really like City Lights, and I like Modern Times as well. And so The Gold Rush was terrific. One of the things that was really great in watching the movie, especially watching it with an audience, was it shows the harshness of the conditions, the harshness of the frozen tundra. You see this line that goes down like 5 miles long or 9 miles long of people trying to climb up the peak. That could be a Robert Flattery documentary. Yeah. All right. And so after starting off with, like I said, these almost like documentary images of this frozen tundra wasteland, to just cut to a frozen peak and then have the little tramp, skipping along. Skipping along there with his like 2-button vest bursting at the seams, and his bowler and his cane, his flat-footed walk. It brought the house down. It was just a terrific piece of artifice to take in the movie. It wasn't just an evening screening. It was part of the kiddie matinee screening. And Julie McLean will try from time to time. We show a lot of kids movies there that are obviously designed for kids, but then she'll try to throw in a comedy classic from time to time. And then I usually try to go for those. And I'm usually like very excited that a lot of parents actually do bring their kids over. I got into a conversation with a father and I go, so you're going to see so I go to his like 11-year-old son or 9-year-old son, 9-year-old. Oh, so you're going to see the Gold Rush for the first time. Oh no, he's already seen the Gold Rush. He likes the Gold Rush. He wants to see it again. Actually, but his favorite is The Rink. But then the thing about it though was when you would hear laughter, you would hear children laughter. You would hear children laughter over here. You'd hear unaccountable giggling over there. You'd hear the adults laughing. But when Charlie Chaplin does the bread roll dance with the two forks and the bread rolls, just the uncontrollable giggling of this one kid that was sitting off to the right side. It was just the sweetest soundscape, all right, to watch like such a sweet comedy bit and for such a sweet moment in the movie. It's a standard Gold Rush story, except now the little tramp is in there. And like a lot of Chaplin's features, it kind of breaks up into like 3 different sections. It's usually a bunch of characters he meets. He falls in love with some girl that is either sweet or innocent, or he thinks she's sweet and innocent, and he's kind of head over heels for her. And then there's usually some big gregarious guy that he meets along the way, and then then there's the situations that the little tramp is put in. He's found Big Jim McClane has found a mountain of gold, which they say, and it's very similar to the way it's all set up, the way the Big Jim McClane story is set up. It's very similar to Gene Hackman's character in Nicholas Roeg's Eureka. And then he gets attacked and he loses his memory, and so now he doesn't remember where it is. And then he gets caught in a blizzard, and then so both him and a bandit and Charlie Chaplin have to spend the winter together. The way the movie works is usually about like a 20-minute sequence involving them trying to survive the blizzard, and then the blizzard eases up. Chaplin goes to the local Yukon saloon, meets the saloon girl that he falls for, and then that plays out for a little bit. She's not one of Chaplin's too good to be true blind waifs that is just meant to be just this polypurebred innocent that is beyond reproach. I like the fact that she was a tramp. She's a big tramp. She's not a little tramp. But I'm not even saying that as a bad thing. She's a saloon girl in a Yukon saloon. I mean, like, what, you expect her to be the school marm? No, there's no kids going to school here. She's actually a legit character, I actually thought. And that's not what you normally say about the women in Charlie Chaplin movies. So I actually kind of liked that she was a 3-dimensional character. The fact that they don't kill themselves to make her likable makes her more of a 3-dimensional character than I think anybody else in the whole piece is. I expect him to have married them all. I'm not looking it up, but I'm sure he married them all. Of course he did. That was actually an older woman for him. And then it's about can Big Jim Larson and Charlie Chaplin and the little tramp find that mountain of gold again. Yeah, because the guy has amnesia. And then it's just, a lot of different big gags. I mean, look, this is not really a movie that there's actually much to talk about. It more is a movie to see. It's more of a movie to watch. We can't go into the intricacies of the plot because oddly enough, there is a nice little plot that develops, but it develops over the course of time. It's never telling you a story in a big way. You're just kind of following the adventures, all right? All done in like 20-minute bits, bite-sized bits of the little tramp in this frozen tundra situation. But by the time the movie is over, you do realize you have been told a story. Even though it's not hitting you over the head during the course of it, you realize you have gone through an adventure with the little tramp and you have been told a story. Now, for us to talk it out is kind of to talk it to death, all right, because it almost needs to be seen and experienced. One of the things that I really liked about it, just the exquisite poetry of Chaplin's humor, the exquisite poetry of the filmmaking, of the classic imagery, in the film, which is something that comedies don't even remotely have anymore. They haven't had it for 50 years. And then this really great 20-minute bits, 20-minute like silent pantomime gags that Chaplin was amazing at. Yeah. The wind gag is never not funny. It's the two big barrel-chested guys are fighting over the shotgun, and wherever the barrel ends up going, it's always pointing at Charlie. And Chaplin was like definitely the first director out there that was like, hey, when I'm done is when I'm done. And he came up with this bit. I'm sure he probably had about 6 or 7 other bits that he shot for this movie and ended up not using. There is a beauty. There is a true beauty to the way the movie's filmed, the way it's staged, the props, the whole enchilada. That is a poetry that has been missing in comedy, I think, since sound came in, and definitely since color came in. Now, when I say that, that doesn't mean that, no, there has never been a poetic comedy made since the beginning of color or since the beginning of sound. But they're far and few between, and they're usually qualified to one degree or another. But these movies have that. Frankly, I dare say it's a time where true artists were making comedies, and they did not consider it lesser to put their art into movie. Chaplin is not afraid for the film to be beautiful. He's not afraid to put his heart out on his sleeve. He's not afraid to call himself an artist when he makes this movie. Chaplin, as much as he's about the gag, shows that there is something more important than the gag.